And now we are very fortunate to be hearing from two esteemed industry leaders, Joy Moyler and David Rockwell. First up, Joy. Joy Moyler's work has a rich, dramatic quality. From her residential work for A-list celebrities to the retail stores she has done for Ralph Lauren and Giorgio Armani. Even her minimalist designs have abundant color, depth, and pattern, a tactility that suggests the bespoke details often found in fashion. Joy's love of color and textiles goes back to when she collected fabric swatches for her late mom to make quilts. She also spent countless hours at Barney's as a child, poring over wool and cashmere while watching her dad and grandfather being fitted for suits. For Joy, the endless varied textures found in fashion, haberdashery, and haute couture have inspired her brand of architecture and interior design. Joy often tells of a trip to Spain when she was 14 that confirmed her love for architecture and grounded her career path. I became enthralled by the light, color, angles, and textures of Madrid and Barcelona. Her work is informed by a multitude of design styles, from Beaux-Arts to modernism and everything in between. Her broad understanding is reflected in the furniture, decorative finishes, hardware, and textiles she uses. With a Bachelor of Science in Architecture and more than 20+ years of experience, Joy is based in New York but works globally on a range of projects, including residential, retail, hospitality, and commercial. The firm's division Joy Moyler Atelier launched a capsule tabletop collection inspired by the architectural design elements found on the landmark residential buildings on New York City's Central Park West, the Dakota, the Beresford, and the Majestic. Joy has been profiled in myriad design publications worldwide, and her name consistently shows up in places like Elle Decor's A-List and Architectural Digest AD 100. She's also contributing editor, design editor for Veranda magazine and columnist for Homes and Gardens UK. We are honored to hear Joy speak and to recognize her contributions with today's presentation of an Honorary Doctor of Fine Arts. Joy, will you join me at the podium? All yours. Good, you dance.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Ellen Kravitz, David Spools, Board of Trustees, and the New York School of Interior Design and graduates for having me today. I am deeply honored to be here with you all and be presented with this honorary doctorate beside David Rockwell, who is someone whose work I have long admired and respected, and one day maybe I get to work with you too. A girl can dream. Graduates, look to the person on your left and say, "We made it." Look to the person on your right and say, "We did it." Louder? Right. Congratulations to you all. And guess what? Now the real work starts. Over time, you may forget your professors' names, but you will not forget what they taught you. Let me share a little story about the beginning of my career. On my very first day at the architectural firm of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill in 1984, I had every hallmark of it being my last. This was because a drawing that I'd spent the entire morning working on was devoured by the print machine in the presence of my entire team. As they stood in shock and awe of the very worst kind, I returned to my desk, working through lunch, recreating the drawing at record speed. Everyone was surprised, including me. What started out as a harrowing experience became a defining moment in my career. Each sputtering shard of paper showed me what I was made of, but you know what? It showed them too. There were many nights thereafter with the same fortitude in place while working until 3 a.m., which over a 3-year period was the norm. Every night, 3 a.m. I would often cry to my dad about the endless weekly charrettes over the years and years and tears of working until 3 a.m., only to return to my desk the very next morning at 9 a.m. His response was always, "No one will ever be able to take these experiences from you later in your career. You are doing the work." I would always cry, mostly from the fatigue of it all. But you know what? He was right. But I have to say, some of my dearest friendships were born out of those days. We were all in it together. We strengthened each other and relied on each other because we didn't see our families at all during the week, many weekends as well. Craziest thing is, I left SOM and joined another firm, only to return to SOM 1 year later. Why? Because I understood how much I learned about the profession and myself in those 3 years, and I wanted more of it. I know it sounds incredibly dire, but almost everyone I've known who has worked in that capacity is now a top designer or architect, well respected in their field. We did the work, whatever it took. Missed parties, time to relax with friends and family. But as I walk around this city, I see those buildings, those projects, the lessons staring back at me. I'm sure I would have loved to have spent more time with my family, but the parties I missed were not important at all. I always considered myself a company girl. In addition to SOM throughout my career, I've worked for some of the industry's top design firms, such as SOM, and John Saladino, Terry Despont, Revlon, Naomi Leff, Cohn Fox, long before moving to fashion brands Ralph Lauren and Giorgio Armani. I relished working at different firms, seeing how they did things, absorbing their process. I loved diving into the samples in their archival rooms and libraries. There was always more to learn. I am beyond thankful for those experiences, and I still carry a little bit of all of them in me. Because of these varied experiences, my work doesn't have a specific design style. I love that. It also creates more opportunities for me to work on more diverse projects without a locked-in look globally. Truth be told, I never imagined myself having a design firm. It wasn't something that I'd ever considered, ever dreamed of, or desired. But a Giorgio Armani client saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I encourage you not to be swift to hang your own shingle. Work for other firms. Learn on somebody else's dime. There's tremendous growth in that, but it takes time. Remember, a tree starts well below the earth, unseen, only when ready do its branches come to light. In short, sometimes growth comes from others seeing more of you than you see in yourself. They may believe in you and your potential more than you believe in yourself. Your comfort zone can be very comforting. Growth comes from truly doing something new and sometimes scary, from being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. There will be days when you wish you were Taylor Swift or a NASA scientist, anything other than interior designer or whatever design discipline you choose. There will be many, many days when your character may feel broken. The cracking you hear is not your heart. It is your shell as your resiliency and character are taking form. Almost 40 years in, oh my, seeing that, ooh, and I remain a vibrant part of a supportive design community. This industry, like most, has changed dramatically. Not just from a technological standpoint, design fused, styles have changed, historical showrooms have closed. You will have to change too. Design is a business above all, an ever-moving being. It's a service business, to be precise. Sure, it's about making things beautiful, but it is a business first. I urge you to never lose sight of that. Your clients will remind you too. In the midst of tartan swatches, back-painted glass samples, floorings, and mosaics. Having the ability to connect with people and build authentic relationships is everything, especially when trying to build your business. Never stop learning, be curious, see the world differently, put the work in, do the work. Go beyond the beautiful images. Have substance in yourself and your work. You don't have to travel far down the Instagram hole these days to find an interior designer who often says, I'm an interior designer and I never took a design class. Often self-taught who may appear to be thriving. But I will tell you, all is well until they tell their client to remove a wall that's wall-bearing to open up the kitchen. Or they install an 150-pound light fixture on the ceiling with no support, which brings the whole ceiling down. Knowledge, I will say it again, is power. Knowledge is power. Keep studying, keep learning. Do not limit your design goals to simply get published and having beautiful images grace magazines, but create beautiful environments where people find wellness, healing, and can thrive. Isn't that what great design is? See the world, see cultures, above all, respect people. Be innovative, reach, and inspire. Impress yourself. Do not measure your successes by social media or whatever else technology has down the road. Find inspiration in everything. Nothing you do is small. It is part of the journey, and know your why. Do you, but by no means in a selfish way. Do what makes your heart sing, do you, but do you with kindness, generosity, respect, others, and the planet. I've traveled and worked on projects for A-list celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, John Mayer, Adrian Brody, and as head of Giorgio Armani Interior Design Studio. Shopped throughout Europe for clients, becoming proficient spending other people's money. That's the good part. I've designed incredible experience in flagship stores for Ralph Lauren, which remain a highlight of my career. But there will be so many, many highlights. There will be many blessings to be had throughout your career, if you are lucky. You'll find yourself visiting archival textile companies like Prel in Paris, where fabrics from Marie Antoinette were crafted. You'll have beautiful relationships with vendors and become friends. Visit some of the incredible showrooms and events like Pad Art Shows in London, Maison Objet in Paris, all sorts of wonderful things. These will be the fruits of your labor. Relish in their delight. You will deserve these opportunities. They come from putting the work in. Another powerful piece is the opportunity to give back to the design community, which has given so much. The time I give to Kips Bay Boys and Girls Clubs and Housing Works is close to my heart. We can never forget the less fortunate. I encourage you to find a group best aligned with your beliefs and support them, because great design changes lives. Honestly, there are days when I say I'm exhausted. Then I look at a fabric or consider the next project, and I'm ready to go all over again. This business does that to you. It holds you like your first love, and in many ways, it's still mine. Thank you to my parents, Aline and Freeman Moyler, who have guided me to be better. They are enjoying this moment from the heavens. To my sister Stephanie, who is here, who has remained my biggest supporter, and who has seen me through a world of crazy and probably knows these design players better than I do. And to my husband, Nick Carter, the other Backstreet Boy, who makes sure I laugh and never lose sight of who I am. Always live in gratitude, be humble, and never stop learning. See the world and continue to be inspired, especially by the little things. Now go on and make the world an even more special place, because you're in it. And just don't live, but live well. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy, for those encouraging words of wisdom. We're honored to have you here today. David Rockwell will now be introduced by New York School of Interior Design Chairman Ellen Kravitz. Ellen, will you join me at the podium?
Let's have another round of applause for Joy. Very touching, Joy. Thank you. I think we're all wiping a tear. This thing is choking me a little, so. If you're in the interior design industry, and now you all are, you know the name David Rockwell, the founder and president of Rockwell Group. Like Joy, David's work has been influenced by many other artistic disciplines. Long before turning his attention to architecture, David had a fascination with immersive environments. Growing up in the United States and Guadalajara, Mexico, David was a child of the theater and was often cast in community repertory productions by his mother, a vaudeville dancer and choreographer. There he experienced the power of collaboration in service of a shared artistic goal and saw the ways in which theater and design created meaning and lasting memories. Through his lens, David founded Rockwell Group, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Now a 330-person cross-disciplinary architecture and design firm, Rockwell Group emphasizes invention, narrative, and performance in every project. David has always had a human-centered design ethos, an approach that most younger designers take as a given today, but wasn't always the norm. He describes his work thus: in our highly mediated, technologically driven world, we're all looking for meaningful ways to connect. This has constantly inspired me to create environments full of lively, immersive, experiential elements specifically created to foster human connection. And that approach is perhaps most apparent in the firm's hospitality projects. When guests visit Rockwell Design restaurants and hotels, Nobu, notably for one, they are, if not transformed, transported away for hours or days if they are lucky. David is also known for his commitment to nonprofit and community organizations, initially pro bono projects such as Dine Out New York City, and serving as the chair emeritus of the Design Industry Foundation Fighting AIDS, better known as DIFA, and as a board member of City Meals on Wheels, New York Restoration Project, and the American Theater Wing. So graduates, if you are not already awed by the breadth of David's abilities, please know that he also excels at giving back, a core value at nysid. We are honored to hear David speak and to recognize his contributions with today's presentation of an honorary doctorate of fine arts degree. David, will you kindly join us at the podium?
Wow, what an inspiring morning. I got to say, what an incredible group. And I've noticed throughout hearing people speak just how inspired and optimistic I am about the future by seeing this amazing group. So congratulations to an extraordinary start on your career. Thank you for this honor, and I want to thank President Sproles, Ellen Kravitz, the board, and what a thrill it is to receive this alongside Joy, who is a total joy, as her name says. Really inspiring and beautiful talk. I think all of us live and breathe design. So I thought it might start out by acknowledging this incredible space we're in, this beautiful space, which, aside from its remarkable architecture, is and has for 100 years welcomed and embraced countless authors and students, musicians, thought leaders, connecting them to each other and to their audience. I like to think of New York this way. It's like a giant container of so many hopes and ideas and dreams. And today, this great hall with all of New York outside its walls is exactly that for you. It's a container of hopes and dreams, your collective work, your desire to make the world a more beautiful and connected space as you cross from being a student out into the big world of creating your career. And I've got to tell you, there's never been a time when the world needed more beauty and connected, so really good timing on that front. Being here, of course, brings back days of being a student at Syracuse, an architecture student. And so my instinct, based on having lived in Guadalajara and my interest in theater and performance, was to tell stories through narrative. Story was how I made sense of the world. And any project I did, I would write a backstory about how it came to be that way. So to say that left some of my teachers a little doubtful is an understatement. But it was one of those things that I was pretty certain about, and I couldn't shake the belief that telling stories really mattered. And that narrative approach has become the backbone and the guiding force of Rockwell Group over now 40 years. Jesus, that's a long time, right? I realized seeing myself as a storyteller forced me to think about who ultimately would be experiencing the spaces we created. Without considering the user experience, even in school, design to me felt like a one-sided conversation. So putting myself in the shoes of the guests, or as I like to think of them, the audience, became central to the process. And now, 40 years later, I've come to recognize that empathy is the main design goal. So a couple of expectations about a commencement speaker that I've learned is some words of wisdom over the years, and to keep it very brief. So I'm going to try and do both of those. And I tried to think about, if I were starting out, what are some of the keys to living a full life as a designer, which is something I'm so grateful to be able to do. It is the best community in the world, and it is a community that depends on collaboration. So a few of those things is, number one, as I said, I would suggest the possibility of making empathy key to how you start every project. Empathy is defined as the ability to understand and share the feeling of others. And I think it's actually essential to create any work that will connect and communicate. Secondly, has been said a couple times here, stay curious. Don't believe you know the answers. Look around you at everything with a sense of wonder. I think really the key to death of a project is when you believe you know the answer before you begin. Start over, be willing to start over. I started studying piano 8 years ago with this now 97-year-old master. And when I asked him what's his key, he said, you never get old as long as you don't forget how to begin. So with each project, think about that. Be research intensive. We begin every project with extensive research, looking at the client, the history, geographical, cultural, and nothing is more inspiring than taking all that research and then conjuring a fresh solution that uses that. So research is a great foundation. Third, and this has been said a couple of times, pay attention to your own nature and your own DNA. I found the fact that I was able to keep the eccentric edges of what motivated me alive is the key to success for me. And we do live in a world saturated with so much imagery and so much great work we can see everywhere that sometimes you forget to really nurture the part of you that's most not like everyone else. And so pay attention to your DNA. Next thing I would suggest, which is also challenging in a world of so many different opportunities, focus on one thing at a time. Fully commit to the project you're on, and that'll lead to opportunities you won't have any idea. As Joy said, if you're working in an office and your job is one little thing, fully commit to that, because that's what's going to lead to the next opportunities. And if you can, make every project a matter of creative life and death. And I know it feels that way in school, talking about working till 3 a.m., but that drive to get something exactly right is very freeing. The next one's a little bit harder, I think maybe took me a while to understand. although by circumstance, I took a lot of risks because I just went out in the world and took a big risk. So I guess it wasn't so hard. But I think you have to be willing to fail. I think safe design is a locked door. And finding a way to do that in a safe way, in a way that you can explore big ideas, take big swings, I think that pays off. And I think I just wanted to mention that sometimes the greatest results come just on the other side of being terrified. So embracing that sense of fear and risk. And finally, as has been said here many times, find the joy in community building, first in your process and then in your work. There's so much pleasure in the intricacy of design work inspiring ideas. So seek out those you love to collaborate with and make those collaborations joyous. And again, treat them like it's the last thing in the world. Really give to them. The world really does need your best work. We need brilliant, empathetic, and fearless problem solvers. Your design thinking skills, your research, your ability to collaborate, your ability to think outside the box, your willingness not to be defined in a box, your keen sense of beauty, combined with a commitment to empathy, will actually give you the power, project by project, to change the world. Then use that talent to bring people together. Over many years, I've worked on projects ranging from stadiums to hotels to restaurants to small theater projects. And what I've realized, the designer's true superpower is the ability to create places that bring people together, purposefully and spontaneously. And great design has the ability to foster that. We're gathered here in this spectacular space, sharing a communal space, communal experience defined by this space. I'm pretty sure Charles Myers, the architect of the building, would be thrilled to know his creation continues to inspire and bring meaning after all these years. And I think he would share my excitement and optimism about the new meaning you all will create, problems you will solve, the lives you will change, and the barriers you will break. So congratulations again, and I'm honored to be here.
Wait, David and Joy, could you please join me back at the podium? Thank you both for your inspiring words. And sorry, the roses are attacking me.
A thorn by any other name is
There we
still
go.
a thorn.
At this time, we are pleased to present both Joy Moyler and David Rockwell with the New York School of Interior Design's highest honor, the Honorary Doctor of Fine Arts, with all the rights, privileges, and immunities appertaining thereto. Wait. And now that you are Doctors Moyler and Rockwell, allow us to place upon you the doctoral hood for the discipline of interior design. Thank you both.